Os. Welcome back. This is class number 3. As we said the other day in the previous class, that today I would focus more on kata, do a little application stuff, work on Heian Shodan. First of all, what is kata? Kata is a sequence of movements and techniques in a pattern. Every belt level has one, right? So for testing, from white to yellow, you're required to learn Heian Shodan, and every belt has its own kata. What it consists of is kicking and punching and stance practice in multiple directions, right? So what a kata really is it's based upon imaginary opponents, 4 to 8 at a time, possibly, because there's only eight angles in which someone can attack, and multiple directions, right? So left, right, front, and back, right? Or maybe down and up and jump and all kinds of stuff. So kata's got some really cool things that we do when we work on kata. Every kata teaches some type of dynamic, right? So we talked about Heian Shodan, so we talked about yesterday, teaches body shifting and rotation, right? So that's the main dynamic principles of that kata. It's the basic foundation of karate. It's like a pyramid, Heian Shodan being the first level, teaching body shifting and rotation. So the two basic things that we're going to learn today, we're going to explain a little bit about where they are in the kata, and that way you can follow along, and then you can focus on those things and practice them. There's two reasons that we learn kata, or two things in kata that are teaching us. One is learning body dynamics and practicing all different types of reaction forces and things, and bunkai application. So, what is this, right? What am I doing? What is somebody grabbing me? Somebody punching at me, kicking at me, swinging, whatever, right? So we can get into bunkai applications of kata, which is a lot of fun to do. But first, you got to understand the basic body dynamic, right? So once we understand how to use the tool, then we can add whatever we want to it, right? So we have to understand those things. By practicing kata, we're going to get a little bit more familiar with the movements and understanding turning and things like that, right? There's two types of kata. There's a Shorin kata and Shorei kata. Shorin kata makes power through speed, right? Quick and light motions. All the Heian kata are Shorin kata. Then we get to the Shorei kata, and the Shorei kata is very hard. We don't really get to it until you're a purple belt. We start to learn Heian Shodan, being the first one introduced after years and years of karate. Well, they make power through dynamics. So therefore, learning the Heians gets us to the point where we understand some body dynamics. Now we can put it together and try to do a Shorei kata. It's very difficult, right? We only get to use vibrations, and they're on a line. Some of them very difficult. But through the practice of the Heian kata, we'll get good at those, right? And after a while, we'll start to understand the difference between Shorin and Shorei and our body type. Some people are very good at the Shorin kata, and some people are very good at the Shorei kata. But we get to learn them both, right? It's just the way karate is, right? Right side, left side, Shorin, Shorei, whatever it takes, we're going to learn them all, right? So that being said, there's 14 elements of kata. And this is what's being looked at when we do tournaments. You're like, well, what makes one kata better than the other? Right? Well, there's a certain thing that we look for, or 14 different things that we look for. One is the sequence of the kata. Did they get it correct? Did they make a mistake? Right? So that's the one. The other one is a control of power. Some katas show dynamic slow motion. Do I understand, the rotation on that? Do I understand when to go hard and fast? So there's always like a control of power in kata. There's expansion and contraction. Am I coming through center? Right? Am I squeezing, expanding, and doing all these things through my kata during it as I'm practicing it? The speed and the rhythm of the kata. We do have slow points of the kata. We have up speed parts where there's tempo, right? And it changes a little bit like Heian Shodan. When we're going up the eye, it's 1, 2, 3, right? So we get to change the rhythm and the speed of the kata based on which kata that we're doing. Got to understand the direction of the movement. Am I going the right way? Am I turning the right way? Am I getting my hands mixed up, doing things like that? Then you have to understand the kata technique. Am I punching Shodan, right? So if the punch is Shodan, I have to understand the Shodan. Am I forging the weapon? Am I hitting with the right spot? Or my kicks how they're supposed to be? Understanding the direction and the movement of the kata is very important. Then we have to show the understanding of the bunkai. So we talk about application. Well, when I'm doing the kata, am I actually fighting somebody? No. But does it look like I am? Does it look like I have intent, right? Putting intent behind my technique, right? So that would be more like the bunkai stuff. Coordination. My coordinating is my technique and my body landing at the same time, if that's what it is. Am I going into the target and vibrating away from it? right? So we have to understand the coordination. Stability and balance is pretty obvious. Am I landing my stances correctly? Am I shifting my weight properly? Is my posture off? Therefore creating an imbalance. Pauses. And this is a real tricky one because sometimes you see tournament kata where people, they'll do a technique and they'll wait, kind of like freeze frame it and kind of make the pause unnecessary or incorrect for the kata, right? So we have to understand what they are and how they are, right? There's 2 ki in every kata. You have to understand where they are and do the ki correctly. A lot of us don't do it correctly. We're going to talk about that another time, right? Breathing. We don't want to hold our breath. I'm going to make sure that we breathe through the technique, not at the end, bark it out at the end. I'm going to breathe through the whole entire technique as well. Concentration and focus on the technique. Am I looking where I'm punching or am I looking somewhere else? And then, my attention and my focus isn't necessarily on what I'm doing. So we have to understand that. And spirit's a big one. And spirit doesn't just mean ki. Some people are like, oh, I yell real loud, yeah, and like, oh man, they have great spirit. Spirit's attitude, right? Am I, do I look the part? Am I, doing Zanshin, doing all these really cool things that make my spirit, elevates my spirit, right? So there's a lot of things. That's a big one. Spirit. It can mean many things. All right. That being said, we're going to get into Heian Shodan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera a little bit so you can see my feet. Obviously, I said yesterday that your feet are probably the most important, and then we work from the ground up, right? So here we go. Let me adjust this. All right, see if you can still see me back here. I gotta raise up a little bit. So Heian Shodan has 21 moves and should take about 42 seconds to complete the kata. It does teach body shifting, body rotation. It is a maximal contraction kata. Every single move, there's no real combinations in this kata, so therefore everything's a maximal contraction. We'll talk about some maximal contractions and things when we get to Heian Shodan. So it's 1 breath, 1 technique. You pretty much freeze the technique before you go to the next move. So it's almost like a 2 count between moves. So it's not a very fast kata. Most people do not do it in 40 to 42 second range. They'll bang it out in 25 seconds. Really not getting the true tempo of what the kata really is trying to teach us. You probably can't see me too well. We're going to talk about a couple things about pointing your elbow to the target when we did the Tetsui. And the rotation, how we rotate to our back, we rotate on our heel. When we rotate to the front, we rotate on the ball of the foot. That's about it. All right, so we're going to work on Heian Shodan. You can see me now. So, of course, we bow first. And that's your kata, Heian Shodan, and Yoi. First thing we do is we want to drop our weight. As I drop my weight, I want to prepare with the Gedan Barai at the same time. Then I'm going to use rotation in order to make power for my first technique. I drop 1, right? So I rotate my hip into the technique, doing the Gedan Barai, getting my stance correct, okay? From here, I'm going to step and punch. What I like to do is I like to take my Gedan Barai hand, bring it up, and imagine that I'm grabbing something and pulling it to give me reaction force forward, right? So it's 1, 2, okay? So from here, punching Chudan, Oizuki Chudan. From here, I'm going to shift my weight to the back leg, prepare, rotate, Gedan Barai, right? From here, someone's going to grab my wrist. That's going to be the thought process for just this basic scenario. I'm not just going to pull my arm back, but I'm going to pull my center back. As I pull my center, right, this would be like a Naikawashi Dachi if I were to stop it in the middle. I'm going to pull my hand. I'm actually going to go around my head, point my elbow at the target, and drop. What I'm actually doing is I'm opening up my core and I'm squishing down, I'm crunching. And that's dropping my power through 1, right? From here, step and punch. Downward block. This way, we just don't step in and do a rising block from here. I actually need to do a tate shuto, 1, stepping in, ageoke, 1. From here, I need to open and close my hand in transition. 2, and 3. Hey! I'll back up so you can see my feet. To do the rotation, I need to now squeeze my knees together, right? Make sure I'm not leaning. And I actually want to transfer the weight to the heel on this foot, and I'm going to spin on my heel, right? Very odd concept, but once you get it, you're going to understand it's way faster. So less friction on your heel going backwards. That's why we do it. You go from here, as I turn, I'm going to prepare for my Gedan Barai, turning, expanding open, making power through that. Then from here, stepping punch. Turn. I am double stepping just so don't pick on me because I don't want to try to be in the frame of the film. From here, step and punch. From here, downward block, 3 punches, okay? Maximal contraction, maximal contraction. From here, knees come together just like before. Like this, turning on my heel, spinning, shuto, okay, kokutarachi, knife hand. From here, I'm gonna point the direction I'm going, 45-degree angle, shuto, squeeze. Anyway, about this. So I'm not sure if we talked about it before or not, but we have to land on the spot that we started in. We're doing everything is equal. Therefore, if I do everything right, I should land on my spot. Oh, this smoke's bad. Let me see. It should take about 42 seconds. So when I do the first move, right, just kind of give you a little bit of timing and rhythm here. It would be drop 1, 1, 2. This kind of sequence is a little quick. I pull, strike, and go, and go. From here, it's 1, 2, 1, 2. Hey! That picks up a little bit, a little off speed. Would be like this. 1. Hey! Right, so it goes a little bit quicker in there. Things to note. Like I said before, doing the Tatsui part. Pulling from my center. Like this. Right? This doesn't work if you're bigger than me. And I'm going to turn my wrist like this at the same time. 1. Point my elbow. Drop. And from here, stepping in. Right? Get the punch like that. Make sure you breathe through every technique. If you guys can see me. It's 1 breath, 1 technique for 21 moves, 42 seconds. Let me think. Some important things. Pausing a little bit. Sorry about that. I was trying to think of something really important that we could talk about. Oh yeah, this part. All right, so talk about creating reaction force. So I get done with the hammer fist punch. I'm here. I just don't step in and do my rising block like this. This is first. This gets pulled down, create reaction force. Remember the block before? 1. From here, it's open, closed. Right? So you gotta remember that. But we do it in transition. I know when we're doing white belt class, I say open your hand, close your hand. But I would be opening it up as I'm going forward, right? The feeling would be that I'm grabbing and pulling, right? Gonkai wise, this would be the block. Grab, pulling, striking. Not necessarily stepping in, blocking, right? You can look at it that way. I'm sure there's applications that way. I like to think I blocked you here, I'm grabbing you, I'm grabbing you, I'm grabbing you, right? Think of that. The shuto part. That's where we start going off on angles. Why do we go on angles? It's evasion. So we get to the 1. I'm here. And instead of going straight into my opponent, I'm going to start to learn how to go on an angle of shifting off, right? These are very good to put yourself in a better position. That's why we body shift, right? It's not that I don't want to get hit. I want to hit you, so I'm going to put myself in a position where I can hit you. I guess that's about it. I don't want to make the video too long. If you have any questions, please put it up on the Facebook feed, and I can answer whatever you want. Just scratching the surface on this stuff. We'll dig in deeper in class. I just want to kind of get you guys doing the kata again, and maybe you learn a couple things from my instruction here on the video. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys.
Subscribe, like, comment.
Brock was watching from the side.